Greetings, children of the screen. Your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here once again, and we're going to be doing something today that we haven't done in a little bit. I'm going to be talking about a new comic book. Specifically speaking, today we're going to be talking about Superman Son of Kal-El #1. Written by Tom Taylor, with art by John Timms, colors by Gabe Elteeb, I'm sorry, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that horribly wrong, and letters by Dave Sharp. Right on, guys. So, this book is the first official outing of Jonathan Kent as Superman. And I have to say, it is extremely well written. Tom Taylor does not disappoint. The artwork is absolutely fantastic. The lettering is good. The coloring is great. There's nothing necessarily wrong with this book. As I said, the writing is really good. In the opening of it, we get yet another retconned origin for Jonathan Kent. This is now his third origin, so that's interesting, but it's not poorly handled. And in fact, with this origin, as you know, John is being born while the Justice League is up in space fighting off a potential invasion. We get to see Wonder Woman and Batman down at the Fortress of Solitude, kind of standing guard or assisting in the birth, and also just wanting to be there for their friend. They are the Trinity, and in this, we get some really great character interactions. All the characters are perfectly characterized. You know, Batman is Batman. He's gruff, and he's got a little bit of a darker side, but he's also got a big heart, and he's there for his best friend. Wonder Woman is just excellently depicted. Lois Lane is pure Lois Lane. It's absolutely great. And then at the end of the book, we also get a nice little moment where Jonathan goes to see Damian and talk to him about, like, his powers and what he should be doing in the world, and the middle part in between is a really solid Superman story. So, why don't I give a shit? Well, the answer to that is that, while again, this is a pretty good Superman story, that's also the thing that kind of works against it. For all the things that this book does well, for all of the good characterization that we have for the majority of the characters, Jonathan Kent as Superman is just a carbon copy of Clark. And again, there are little details that are put in that differentiate him, you know, things like trying to live up to his father's legacy, trying to live up to his mother's legacy. You know, all these little things that are attached to the character, but in his characterization, he's just Clark. Like, basically, you could strip out the beginning and the end of this book and remove those little details, and it would just be a really solid Superman story. But it's a complete waste of the character that Jonathan Kent was when he was created and established. And on top of that, it's also a waste of the relationship between Jonathan and Clark. Like, Superman is a character that I appreciate and enjoy, but because so many of his stories, even when they're done right, are very typical by-the-book Superman stories. And for the most part, when people try to stray from that, you either have the guys who don't really get Superman, so they decide to make him depressed and sad so they can do something different, not realizing that that's what every hack writer who doesn't get Superman or think they can write the normal kind of Superman story has done. Or you just get something that's totally out of character and bad, like a large cross-section of the New 52 Superman stuff. Or like the Zack Snyder version of Superman. What was great about the introduction of Jonathan Kent into the mythos is that it gave a new dynamic to Superman. And also gave a new and interesting character that we got to see grow and evolve and become his own person. You know, like with Superman, all of a sudden, he's not just Superman, he also gets to become Pa Kent. And all those speeches that Superman's always giving, now there is a new outlet for us to, you know, hear those speeches in a new context. It's not him preaching to the world about how they should be better, it's him teaching his son how to be a man and how to be a Superman. And with Jonathan, again, you get to see this new character who has his own interesting quirks and his own interesting worries kind of come into his own. But in this book, because we've jumped so much time, and John is now an adult, we find a lot of those little idiosyncrasies about him have been completely stripped away. And even though, like, there are small details that differ from Clark, all the same beats and functions of Clark are now applied to John. Like, yeah, he goes and talks to Damian instead of talking to Bruce. You know, there are things of that nature, but it's still him questioning his power and how he should use that power and what will people interpret his use of that power to be. But that's something that we've seen a million times done in the exact same way in other Superman books. There's nothing new or interesting or dynamic about it. So at the end of the day, what you end up with is a very well-handled book that is completely devoid of anything interesting or new or unique. It's just the same thing we've seen a million times before without anything new really added. Like, the book just doesn't give you anything that you needed. And we sacrificed so much for that. The Rebirth run of Superman, where he was a father to John, was probably one of the best runs of Superman in the last maybe 20 years or more, and that's all completely lost. Just because some big-paid writer wanted to come in and shake things up without any kind of plan or anything that he really wanted to do with either character that those changes really necessitated. It's just Brian Michael Bendis wanting to, like, throw his dick around and, like, shock the fans and try to get people to buy more books because they're pissed off about something. Because he learned over at Marvel that, yeah, if you, like, threaten to change the status quo and you piss off your fans, then they're gonna buy the book to rage read it. And, like, he needed his numbers to be up because DC paid him a lot of money. And now everyone who's come afterward has inherited these issues. So what you end up with is a book that completely makes both Jonathan Kent and Clark Kent completely superfluous characters. They don't really matter because they cancel each other out. Neither one is made more interesting by the other's existence. As I said in the opening, guys, I have not been reviewing a whole lot of new comic books, and there are multiple reasons for that, and my reasons for that could make a whole video of their own. The aging up of Jonathan Kent was something that definitely pushed me away from the Superman books. The moment that his character was aged up, and during Brian Michael Bendis' run, a lot of the things that I'd found myself just absolutely loving about Superman over the last couple of years were just gone. And there was nothing really to replace them or fill that void that really interested me. And this book is pretty much just a solidifying in my mind that I was correct to dip out when I did. Again, the book is very well done. Like, everyone who worked on the book, you can tell that they weren't phoning it in. They were putting in a solid effort. But because there was so much potential there before, and now there's such a lack of it, it's just the same thing. It feels hollow. Even though this is, at its core, a good Superman story, all I can think of when I read it is how much is lost. Now, I know I didn't go a lot into the plot here, and if you want to read it, by all means, check it out. If you just want a solid Superman story, you won't be disappointed. But if you wanted something different, like, the person who recommended this book to me is someone who doesn't particularly like Superman, they claim, but said this is one of the best Superman books they've ever read. And that's because it's a solid Superman story. Now, I did tell them, if this is the best Superman book you've read, I don't think you've read very many Superman books, because this is pretty standard. But it's not bad. It's just missing something that really justifies its existence. There's no real reason for this book with John as Superman to exist, other than the fact that it was most likely originally commissioned during the whole 5G movement, and then whenever they pushed it over into New Frontier, it was work that they had already paid for, so they're going to put it out. Anyway, guys, those are just my thoughts. Did you check out this book? If so, what did you think? Did you love it? Do you think that John is a far better Superman than Clark? Was it more interesting to you? Or do you think that I hit the nail on the head? Let me know down in the comments below, and if you like this video, please leave a like and share it with some friends. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe so you can check out all the dope content I've got coming out in the future. Thank you very much, children of the screen. Hope you all have a good one. Nerd Scum. Out.